New product for reds. I've been testing these for the last couple months. I was told you got to try the Cortland Euro Nymph rods. So we did. Pretty impressed with them. In the $300 price range, this one's a pretty tough competitor. You should consider it. First off, we'll just start with the case. I thought this was a pretty darn nice case. It's pretty attractive, pretty cool looking. It's got a handle. It does come with a sock. These models here are the 10.5 foot 2-weight, which is kind of my favorite amongst these that I have tested. It comes with a nice sock, and the sock as well is labeled, which is kind of cool just to have a sock that actually has the model of the rod right on there. You know which is which, and it's got kind of a cool logo. Cortland is one of those brands it's been around forever, man. You know, it's like kind of a big box store type brand historically, but they really the president of Cortland is a very avid Czech nympher and European style nympher, and Cortland has kind of been big in the competitive fly fishing realm. But let's just take a look at the rod before we actually go fish it and get it out there. I thought it was pretty nicely finished at $300. The rings are very clean and they hold really well. There's 2 split rings. It's down locking, so the reel's going to go all the way to the base to help aid with balance. A really nice fighting butt, which I like a fighting butt on all my Euro rods because I want to set that rod down on the butt at times, and I don't want the reel just sitting on the gravel or the concrete or the floor, wherever I happen to set my rod down and lean up. I think it's like a nice kickstand to have that right there. There's what the kind of the labeling looks like. Hopefully Chad can get that in focus. And as with, you know, kind of contemporary Euro rod design, we've got that first guide way down here in the bottom section so that we don't get line sag between the reel and the first guide there, but we've got a nice tight direct line. So we're going to go ahead and fish this rod today. I've been fishing it quite a bit, but we'll fish it and kind of highlight a few of the features. Do you need to go out and replace whatever Euro rod you have now because Joe says this Cortland Nymph rod is great? Absolutely not. If you're in that $300 price range looking for a Euro nymphing rod, I think in this kind of this category, the 10.5 foot 2-weight should definitely be a consideration of yours. If you're not loyal to a particular brand, the competing brands for us would be Echo and Redington. If you're not highly loyal to them, consider jumping in with the Cortland, man. It's been good, and I've yet to see one break, which usually in testing with the staff, we usually break a couple of these because we fish them pretty hard before we're vetting a new rod or a new rod model to bring into the shop, and these have been super reliable. So that speaks volumes to the construction of the rod. They didn't build it with an overly soft tip, but the rod is sensitive. It's very very nice to fish, but the additional length in that 2-weight is kind of that's the sweet spot for me. I really like this particular one here. So without further ado, let's jump in the creek and go do some fishing. All right, field test is underway. Got a nice rainbow on. Holy moly, there he goes. Still going. Man, this fish is hot. So when you're fighting fish, I'd like these 2-weights like this. Man, you just want a really low rod angle. You see how I have my rod dipped toward the fish? You don't need that big bend in the rod. You want to keep your tip down, pointed toward the rod, toward the fish, really fighting the fish on the middle of that rod, like that. That is a healthy trout right there. All right, gonna bring him up. Beautiful, come on in, let's get a quick look at this and I'll show you the setup I'm fishing here. So first thing is I'm gonna go ahead and unhook him. And if he gets away, he gets away. But I'll make sure he's revived and ready to go. And yeah, let's get right in here nice and close. And take a look at that nice healthy rainbow right there. What a great fish. And we're just gonna let him swim just like that. So yeah, the setup I'm fishing is I'm just fishing a single bugger. I think that's one thing with the Czech rods and Czech nymphing in general. Let me get a little bit more line out here. But I'm fishing like just a single black jig head bugger, nothing real fancy, and I'm fishing it all by itself, just tied on a loop knot. but between the skinny leader and the skinny line, you have a lot of feeling and control. So like on that particular fish, I was casting up kind of check style, and I was bumping. And as soon as it broke free of the bottom, I could feel that I lost contact. I could just start jigging it across and working it across just like a traditional streamer swing with a few little kind of ticks and little jiggy motions in there. Sometimes you don't even know what you're doing. You're just trying to make that thing tick. But that's the nice thing about when you're fishing these bugger systems or these little streamers is when you do break contact with the bottom, which is going to happen, you get to fish it all the way out of the bottom. And I've just found that fishing it solo sometimes is a great way to do it. So my plan for a riffle like this would be to fish it downstream with my bugger jig, work it through, don't get anything. I can tie on a double set of nymphs, and then I can cast back up and really work the kind of the gut of that run with my nymphs after I've kind of worked down with a single little bugger like that. So yeah, great fish. Rod's performing really well. I will say, you know, in the whole, you know, realm of Euro style rods, the more you spend on Euro rods, the better they tend to cast for just a variety of situations. Compared to like my Thomas & Thomas or my Sage rods, this one isn't as sweet to just shoot a bugger or a dry fly out as those other rods, but it's a fine tool when you're really hyper focused on just that check nymphing and making short casts. It's a fabulous rod for those types of situations. Don't get into this rod and think you're going to throw dry flies to 60 feet like on, you know, other traditional fast action type fly rods. All right, now this is a good fish. Holy smokes. It's a good test for this little rod. Same setup that I've been talking about, that single bugger. That's cool on this tiny little secret stream. My friend Chad showed me today. I've never fished here before. He brought me out. He says, hey man, you gotta check this place out. So I figured, hey, I got to go kind of do a video review on this rod as well. But secret little stream out here in the desert. Look at that, Rainbow. We'll take it. Woo! Beautiful. Take that fish all day long. I'm just gonna let him swim, man. He deserves it. I don't even like take him out of the water that long, but I'm kind of stoked right now on that fish. And anyway, that's gonna wrap up my review of that Cortland Nymph rod. Good solid rod. In summary, I'll say the same thing. I don't expect you to go out and replace whatever rod you're fishing with, but if you're breaking into the Euro Nymph thing, you want to get a rod, or maybe you want a rod of a different weight, and $300 is your price point. Great rod at that price. I've been very pleased with it, and I'm gonna end this video because I want to go back in there and see if I can't find another one of those. That was pretty awesome. All right, so I'm just gonna talk to you a little bit about fishing in general and this rod that I'm fishing right here. This is the Cortland Nymph rod, and this is a 10.5 foot 2-weight. And at $300, this is a pretty impressive rod. It's fairly sensitive. It's been very reliable, but more so than anything, I really like the finish of this rod. I like the fighting butt. I like how it's packaged. You know, you get a nice tube and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to talk through about what I'm doing with this rod today that's been effective for me. And I'm just fishing a single bugger, not even a real heavy one. Might have been a pickup right there. And when I cast these things, what I like to do is I'll just throw it overhand downstream like that. And then I'm going to take it right off the water. And why I like to do this is I'm going to stop my rod like that. And my sighter never touch the water. I know you wouldn't be able to pick that up on video, but that way I can flutter that bugger right down that drop off right there in front of me. Okay, might have been a pickup right there. It's February right now, and these takes have been fairly soft. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop it right here, stop my rod tip high, fly hits first. I keep that fly suspended when it's in the shallows, and now I'm gonna start to dip, and I'm gonna follow that bottom right there. And I'm gonna let the wind help me with my lead a little bit. Maybe bottom, maybe a fish, I don't know. Hook sets are free. Might as well go for it. Yeah, I'm gonna throw one more. And the other thing about these rods is on the 10.5 footers, I would really recommend you get some type of reel that you have some oh man, that was a much better grab right there, and I blew it. Would have been a good one to have on video. All right, let's try that guy again. Maybe we'll get a second bite on him. So what I was saying about the reel is make sure that you get a reel that is either, you know, over 6 ounces. You know, I'm just kind of estimating, say 6 ounces plus, but it would be better to have one that's got some adjustable weights on it. I'm using my Sage ESN reel right now. I don't expect you to put a Sage ESN reel on a $300 rod, but maybe like a Reddington tilt would be a really good choice. That has adjustable weights. It's purpose built for Euro. That would be a good choice to pair up with this Cortland Nymph rod.
No fish?
No. That was a bottom haunting me. All right, one more cast, and then we'll shut the camera off, and then that's usually when they bite pretty much immediately. And what I can do here is I'm getting down to the point where there's not quite enough current to pull that drift through. And what I'm gonna do is, nobody says that you can't just take this system and throw that bugger just straight across. And I'm gonna kind of half strip, half swing, just right across there with a few little jigs, just like that, because the current has slowed down. And that's one thing I like about fishing just a single bugger on a check rod, is it's super versatile. I can just keep stepping down this creek just like that right there, throw it over in that little eddy, and then just kind of half swing, half strip it, give it a little mat action, and work that little streamer right across the river just like that. Nobody said that's against the rules with a Euro rod like this. And you have a lot of control with that very skinny line. Cut.